Hey everybody, welcome to the first segment of today's asynchronous class. This PowerPoint offers 3 or 4, I call them clarity tests, or specifically paragraph, or what I would add paper level organization tests that are just helpful in a lot of different writing genres, especially the writing genres you do in this class. Again, the goal is just helping you write clearly so that your audience understands totally what it is you're trying to communicate. Okay. And again, the genre that you're writing in really dictates the specific rules that you should follow. It dictates really how clarity is going to be defined. So the type of writing that these rules encourage might be super helpful in some genres and not so helpful in other genres. I think overall, though, the feedback and advice I have here generally applies to most genres of writing. Okay. And I guess I should add, these tests when you follow the paragraph template that we discussed last time, you generally tend to pass these tests, as we'll see here. Okay, first one. You want to run your paragraph as you're revising, really, and as you're writing. You want to run your paragraph through the two-headed fish test. A two-headed fish paragraph is a paragraph that shoots off in multiple, 2 directions at once. We want to make sure that our paragraph has a clear focus that you establish in the very top, in the red part of the paragraph in the paragraph template, and then elaborates advice directly based off of that, or offers advice that substantiates that claim or that thesis. And then you want to make sure you clarify how that proves the thesis in a bottom section. In other words, that's the paragraph template right there. And you want to make sure all 3 of those parts are pointed towards the same idea. Okay, when you have a few different, we throw in ideas that are unclear or that are focused on another idea that may be relevant to your paper, you want to weed those out and save those for another point of the paper, just in order to focus on that one idea. Okay, so you just want to make sure your paragraph has one head. Okay. We talked about this example last time. This is the T-Rex paragraph that talks about the fact that big dinosaurs weren't actually just carnivores. But then halfway through the paragraph, it just kind of throws in this idea about people getting wrong ideas about dinosaurs from the media. Okay, and we had a conversation about this. Ultimately, we determined that this paragraph could be a one-headed fish, so to speak, or it could have one single focus if we made some adjustments, and I had y'all make adjustments. But as it is now, this is a two-headed fish, because it's trying to do, right now, 2 different things at once. We've got just discussion of dinosaurs as not just carnivores, and then we throw in this other focus that's just distracting. Okay. Here's another test. We call this the echo test. When you run your paragraph, and again, this is for a paragraph level. Some of these tests are for paper level organization, which helps you make sure that your paper as a whole is coherent, but this is just for paragraphs. You ask, do any of the paragraph sentences echo any of the other sentences? When you run your paragraph through this test, you mostly find that you are going to be eliminating redundant or repetitive sentences that repeat stuff that's already been established. I do this in my writing a lot. I tend to over-explain, or I tend to just kind of repeat stuff that I've already established earlier in the paragraph. And what this does is makes it leaner and more concise and economic. A lot of y'all said concision was a big quality of characteristic of clear writing, and I agree. And ultimately, this test is going to help you write more economically. I like that word a little bit different because it suggests that sometimes you can have a long paragraph, and that's okay as long as it's economical or concise. You're putting each of those sentences to good work. In other words, they're not repeating or overlapping each other. Okay, so you want to make sure each sentence adds something new. It tells another part of the story. You're just moving forward, or not just dwelling with the same idea and over-explaining things, like I kind of have been the last minute in this video. Okay, here's a test for this. I think we did this paragraph too. Let me tell you about dinosaurs. I fetching love dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are circle. Okay, we read this in class. If you want to read this, just pause this video here. Again, just these first few sentences. For one thing, it's just not clear. We have multiple heads going on at the same time here. We're not exactly sure what the focus of this paragraph is. But it's also a lot of these just kind of repeat. I mean, when you read this, you feel like a 12-year-old kid just kind of came up to you and said, let me talk to you about dinosaurs. And again, this is an academic, but a lot of these sentences just repeat the same thing. Let me tell you about dinosaurs. That reflects that, you know, A, that you do want to talk about dinosaurs, but that you're eager to talk about dinosaurs. And then, you know, you explicitly say that here, I love dinosaurs. Dinosaurs, again, all this super, super repetitive. Okay. Again, this is a dumb, stupid example, not academic, not something that you would show up in any kind of engineering, technical writing at all. But I think when you go through your writing, and I'm going to have an activity at the end of this for today's class to do this, but when you look back at your writing, you're gonna realize that this is a really easy a mistake to make, and this is why the echo test is super, super helpful. Okay, and again, you can do this as you're revising. That's kind of the idea with these tests. You're gonna just in your first draft, you're kind of always want to get your thoughts down, and then you revise in retrospect. But you can think of this as you are drafting as well. Both work. Okay. Again, I guess I included a slide. The word economical is helpful more than just concise. Concise, and I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Concise means not just short. I mean, clear writing doesn't mean you're just writing straightforward and you're writing in a short, direct way. It means you're only using the space that you do need. Sometimes you can write really long tracks of writing and it can still be economical as long as each sentence and each paragraph is doing a specific job without overlapping on stuff that you've already established. Okay, I don't think I have an example for this one, so I'm just going to talk through this. This is the island unto itself test. We're going to talk about this more really when we talk about transitions, but the idea here is that you want to make sure each sentence leads into the following sentence, and then that each paragraph leads into the next paragraph. So that when you're writing, you're connecting ideas, you're weaving ideas into each other, so that there's not this one, big jump in between sentences, for example, in the middle of a paragraph, or that there's not a big jump from one paragraph to another. So really, this is really helping you to check your transitions. But just know now that you want to make sure that as you're writing, you're basically guiding your reader through your thinking step by step. And if there's one gap there, there's one break in the chain, and that's going to throw things off and make things frustrating for your reader. Okay, so we're going to come back to this when we talk about transitions. Okay, I've got one more. Again, I'm going to come back to the paragraph template and show how each of these tests really, I guess I've already kind of done that, really do help you, encourage you to do the paragraph template. This one specifically focuses on that last part of the template, the explanation part, to tie your paragraph up in a bow in a nice package so that it's clear what this paragraph was all about. So this is the so, what, and the who cares test. Well, who should care about what you said and why? I explained that part of the paragraph template as an explanation of how the proof proves the topic sentence. And that's kind of, I guess I could add that to this slide and say, when you're wrapping up a paragraph, you want to make it clear why you brought up that proof, why you brought up that data, why you brought up that study or that quote. And I guess what I could add is this is the kind of the relevance section. This is the so what. This is the ultimate final conclusion. This is the big reason you just spent the whole paragraph walking through that specific idea. Okay, you might also, I guess, thirdly, just make it clear what it is you were trying to prove. This is maybe you can even just say the test that helps you just make sure you've got a sentence at the end of the paragraph that brings your reader back to the topic sentence, really, which is where you established what you were going to explore in that paragraph to begin with. Okay, I think we talked about this paragraph too. There's a few different things with this paragraph. We discussed it, but it's not really clear what this person wants to argue. We just suggested that we nix this last sentence and this first sentence, and that gets a little better. That makes it a little bit more clear that this paragraph is just focused on proving that pizza can be a healthy dish if you prepare it in a certain way. But it's not clear from just this first draft that is the goal. And again, that's true because we don't have a topic sentence, but it's also clear because we don't have this bottom section, this so what, who cares, this, I think it's blue section. We don't have an explanation of what it is this paragraph's about, where there's not one clear moment where we just clearly explain, here's what I've been trying to prove. Instead, we just have, I love to eat pizza on Friday nights with Marie. Okay, so this doesn't pass the so what, who cares. I guess I should have explained this picture. You're just going to pretend that there's an annoying little talking orange. This was from like a video like maybe 10 or 12 years ago. I don't know why this is still in here. You're going to pretend that there's somebody just hovering over your shoulder saying, so what, who cares, just to make sure that you bring it back to the, to the ultimate, relevancy of what it is you're trying to do in that paragraph. Okay. Again, here's the paragraph template, and if you're following this template, fairly closely, or at least these 3 moves, then you're going to pass all these tests. Just declare up front what it is you want to prove with this paragraph, then prove it or explore it or explain it, expand on it, that's what the green is, and then wrap things up. So explain what it is you just accomplished, explain what it is you've been trying to do, maybe point out the relevance, and then maybe you can even maybe sort of point towards what you're going to do in the next paragraph. That's kind of one way to transition out. But there's a number of things you can do. Whatever it is, you're just kind of wrapping things up. Okay. So we've just been focused on the integrity of a paragraph here, and we're going to keep on focusing on that for the whole semester. The more we go, though, we're gonna especially next we're going to talk about outlining, where we're going to zoom out and talk about paper level organization, which is making sure that you've got paragraphs in the right order, or at least as a whole your paper is clear. Right now, though, we're just focused, especially in the memo assignment, because we're just focused on 2 big paragraphs. We're just going to focus on paragraph level tests and paragraph level organization. Okay.